Achievements made easy. Lag walkthroughs. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Bonkekook here, back with part 2 of our 1000G achievement walkthrough for Stranger Things 3 the game. We last finished off the introduction of the game and were brought back to Mike's basement to lead off Chapter 1. And this is going to happen in almost every chapter in the game. Once we finish it, we automatically are brought back to Mike's basement and kind of regroup. There is one chapter that we get brought to the mall, I think, but almost every chapter in the game you end up being brought back to the basement. I do want to cover kind of the basics of that. As I already mentioned, once you reach a new chapter, all of the destructible items come back. I guess I can't say 100% of them do, but most of them do come back after each chapter. So you can go back to places you have been already after a chapter reset and destroy them again for chances at the drop only items or whatever else there may be. You can also unlock, as I mentioned, new trinkets. So we don't really have any. We did have these unlocked at the beginning of the game. We just didn't have access to a workbench to use them. In the right corner here, you'll see a workbench that we can use to craft our recipes, but we're not going to get into that very much. If you want to deviate from what I'm doing, feel free to, but you may be out of luck later on when I say we need to do things if you did things that I didn't tell you to. Of course, that's a risk you would take if you choose to make that point. Some of the trinkets increase your damage points, which I've already covered. Some of them increase damage percent. Some of them increase your defense. Some of them increase your attack percent or your movement speed. This is Mike's specific one that makes his taunt better. This is an armor. This is Lucas's specific one, which we can't get that for a while. The window cleaner, I think, costs like $10, so we're not going to worry about that because we're not going to be using Lucas for too much longer anyways. But that specifically is why Will is so much better than 11. We have unlocked all of these, and we're not going to be using any of them. Most of them aren't really worth the time. If you were going to main Lucas, then I could see Lucas's being worth it, because it does do 10 additional chem damage, not a percent. Keep an eye out for that. The trinkets that are best do additional damage, not percent. And we don't have it right now, but I'm pretty sure this is the toy robot recipe, which we won't unlock until we get Dustin, which we'll be doing pretty quickly. With that done, we're going to go ahead and start Chapter 1. If you were an eagle-eyed viewer, you may have noticed the gnomes sitting on the area rug over here behind the table, so pick them up. That is gnome number 3 of 50, Johnny, and the game calls that gnome number 1. On the far left, Will is almost always here until Chapter 5 or 6, I can't remember which one. We're going to talk to Will almost every time we come back here, and this is going to turn in the first quest of the game and unlock our first achievement. Go ahead and skip through the dialogue. Once that quest is complete, your first achievement will unlock. Welcome to Hawkins, achievement number 1 of 31. For 15G, getting you to 15 out of 1000G total. And we get 2 story quests now. One is to meet Mike's mom, Karen, at the Hawkins pool, and the other is to welcome Dustin home from camp. We will work on these soon, but for now, make note of the exit down and left from Will. An exit that leads outside from the area we are at typically has those block yellow areas, whereas if it leads to another area in the map, it's usually a darkness. It's just straight darkness, which you may have noticed in our previous chapter there when we were messing around in the Starcourt upper levels. Just something to note there, if you are getting lost or confused, those little block arrows will indicate you're switching to a different area when you go through. But instead, for now, we're going to head to the northeast and open the door, walk inside, and walk to the left corner to go up to the second floor, or I guess the ground floor of Mike's house. Go northeast into the kitchen, and you'll notice a little gnome just in front of the fridge. That is gnome number 4 of 50 overall, Clara, and number 38 in the game. Again, I'm just including the notation of what the game calls it for those of you that want to know that information or may need to reference it for something. There is a study room to the southwest. Go ahead and open the door. There is a hack chest in here, but we can't do anything with it, so we're just going to destroy all of the belongings in anger and then exit out of the room. And you can exit southeast. This will bring us out to the Hawkins suburbs. This is where the map stitching was horrific. I had to piece together like 7 or 8 different screenshots for the map on the website, so I hope you appreciate the work I did. My eyes really hurt after doing that. There are flower pots in front of our house here, and also 3 other houses in here that you can destroy, go inside, and then come back out and do it again. And this is how you grind. There are specific spots, and there's a house all the way to the southwest here. This house here has like 7 flower pots right in front. So you can go in the house, come out, destroy them, check for items, go back inside, come out, etc. over and over again. This house also has a bunch of flowers in front of it. However, only half of them come back when you go inside the house. So that's why I tend to use this house, which is the gnome house for grinding things. Dustin and 11 are the best characters for destroying things quickly. Their attacks get off the fastest, and that's something you want to keep in mind. Will's attacks take forever, so destroying things with 11 or Dustin is the move to make. We won't really be able to worry about that for a while, but I wanted to make note of it now. Right away, walk to the left, and in the little flower garden along Mike's house will be another gnome. This is gnome number 5 of 50, Christine, and the game has it as gnome number 2. Now follow the house around to the left side. Go ahead and destroy all of this stuff if you want. It's not really that big of a deal. And we're going to cross the street here to Dustin's house. But before we go in the house, walk west into the corner here, and you can get around the fence and follow it all the way to the northeast to find a lost gnome. This is gnome number 6 of 50, Falco, and the game has it marked as gnome number 27. Now we're going to return to and go inside Dustin's house. Walk up to the door, press A, go inside, and then walk up to 11 and press A. Choose Let's Do It, and you can skip through the scene with B. Once you come back, go ahead and talk to Dustin. Skip through all the dialogue, and now we're going to swap so that we don't have Mike. We unlock the One Time at Space Camp achievement, number 2 of 31 for 30G, getting us to 45 out of 1000G total, and now we don't have to worry about Mike screwing us over. So Dustin's attack is very quick, as you can see there, and it does an area of damage. So if you have 3 flower pots lined up in a row in this direction, you will break all 3 of them. That makes him very useful for destroying things, and that's why we're going to be swapping to him. His attacks also do base chem damage, which is poison damage, so you can attack an enemy and back off, and they'll take a % of poison damage as long as they are affected by the poison. Lucas is still not a bad option, which is why we're going to keep him as our backup. When you're ready, walk northeast, and you'll find some tinfoil on the ground here. The room northeast has some boxes to break if you want to walk in and do that. And then exit back into the kitchen and open the northwest door. As Lucas step on the pressure plate, press left on the D-pad so that he stays, switch to Dustin and go into the back room and pick up the umbrella off the floor. Now exit to the southeast, press right on the D-pad so Lucas will follow you, and we're going to head back to the other wing of the house. There's really no point exploring most of the rooms here. There's only 1 or 2 destroyable objects in them, so I'm not going to bother. Just keep walking until you get a kind of introduction to the lock on his door, and this is Dustin's hacking ability. So if you are not Dustin and you walk up to the hack pad, you switch to Dustin, and as you'll see, you have a little button press mini game with a timer. You just have to press the buttons in order. Excuse me, it's not in order. You can press B and then screw up the next one and then get it right. You just have to press the 3 buttons uh, in the order that they are shown on the screen, left to right. But you can screw up in the middle as long as you get the entire sequence done before the red bar drains. If the red bar does drain all the way, you take, I think it's like 1/10 of your health away, so it's not a big deal, but most of these hacks aren't that big of a problem. Even the hardest ones later on are still pretty lax on difficulty. One thing I did forget to mention, that if you already got a duct tape to drop, which is, it can be a drop item, Dustin will tell you to go outside and make those Cerebro antenna. Don't listen to him. We're going to finish off this section. I forgot to mention that, because that is something that can happen, but it isn't supposed to. Once you open the door, walk inside, and you'll see the duct tape on the ground. Go ahead and pick that up. And then we're going to exit out of the room, back down the hall, and out of the house. Walk east around the house and around the overhang where the car is parked, and you can interact with the workstation there and craft the Cerebro antenna. So you'll see at the bottom, those are the 3 ingredients we need. Now, once you have the ingredients, it doesn't tell you what's down there. If you swap over to Dustin's Rock'em Shock'em, excuse me, which is his special item, you'll see the blue text there are the ingredients we don't have, and it names them for you. However, if you've already picked something up, it doesn't tell you what it is. So you might have to go into your items and hover over the specific items to know what the names are. Just a little kind of wrinkle in how this inventory system works. It's not perfect. Once you get into the crafting recipe, assuming you've picked up all the items with me, you can press A on the Cerebro antenna, and then press A again. This will unlock your 3rd achievement, Crafted Things, achievement number 3 of 31 for 15G, getting you to 60 out of 1,000 G total. You do have a little bit of dialogue here, but you can just skip right through it. And now, for that quest, it wants us to travel to Weathertop, but we're not going to do that yet. Head east from where we're at towards the marker if you have the Summer Fling quest active anyways. Either way, head east and we're going to head into the Hawkins community pool. Go ahead and walk in. When you walk in and walk down, you're going to trigger a scene of Karen and Billy. You can skip it. There's not a whole lot for us to do here now. We're just kind of collecting a quest right now. As we walk in, walk right and around to the northeast edge of the pool to find Karen and talk to her. She's going to ask us to pick up some fancy shampoo from the mall, and she'll give us the money to do so. And now we're going to attempt to leave. As we do, Billy is going to stop us and demand we bring a pretzel. Now exit to the northwest. And we're going to exit to the south here. There are 4 different exits from the suburbs. You're always going to come in at that one, and usually one of these 2 is going to be our fastest way out. But there's a 3rd one way down here. Oh, there's actually 5. There's a 4th one over by Max's house, too. And there's also one up at the very top. Whichever one is closest for you, or if you have something you want to do, want to explore, whatever, eventually exit to the world map, and this is how we get around. We're going to be choosing which area we go to, and more will unlock as we go throughout the game. We're going to go to Hawkins Square first, though. We don't have any pressing matters here, but there are a lot of side quests we can do. And most of the shops for buying things, the primary ones, the hardware store and Melvold's general store, are here, which are important for buying materials we're going to need for trinkets. For now, walk to the north, and as you approach the Circuit Shed shop, Dustin is going to comment about how it moved, and we should go explore it. Walk up to the hack pad and hack the pad, and then go inside. There's a med kit to our right. We're going to go ahead and pick that up. And as we approach the front desk and the computer, Dustin's going to tell us that we need to have someone trigger the PC so that the cameras move, and someone is going to have to go through. So what we're going to do first is, as Lucas, we're going to toggle the cameras. As Dustin, we're going to walk up to this wire spool and pick it up. We'll switch back to Dustin with down on the D-pad and toggle the cameras. We're going to switch to Dustin and destroy everything. Walk up to this camera. We're going to switch back to Lucas and toggle the cameras. We're going to switch back to Dustin, walk forward and press the green button. That'll open a door to our southeast, and we're going to go into that corner nearby. So walk all the way down here and then switch to Lucas and toggle the cameras. Back to Dustin, we're going to destroy everything and go into the next room. And then we're going to go right up against this camera here. If we do run into the camera, we just kind of get sent back and shocked there for a second, but we don't take any damage. Switch back to Lucas and toggle the cameras, and back as Dustin, go into this room, pick up the wire spool, and you're going to pull the lever to turn on the power over here. Now exit this room and walk just up against this camera in the previous room, toggle the cameras again, walk northeast and press the green button to open the northeast door, and walk inside to the back wall right up against this camera here and switch back to Lucas. We're going to toggle the camera here, switch back to Dustin, and pull the lever in the east corner. Then walk back to the west, get right up against the door, switch back to Lucas, toggle the cameras, walk southwest as Dustin and press the green button. Open that door and walk inside to get some text saying, hey, now Dustin can bring Lucas to where we are. First, we're going to walk over and destroy this stuff. Now we'll walk back to the computer. And we do need to toggle the cameras first. Now switch to Lucas and walk up right about here, up against the camera. Switch to Dustin, toggle the camera, switch to Lucas, and now you have a straight shot to get back to Dustin. So just follow the path through, bring Lucas onto one of the pressure plates, switch to Dustin, and hop on the other, and now you can press right on the D-pad so Lucas will follow you again. In the next room, you're going to have rats' nests, but they are blocked by the cardboard. So they can't spawn any rats, but if they aren't obstructed on all sides, these can spawn rats infinitely. I believe. It might not be infinite. It might be like 5 or 6 of them. But regardless, you don't want to let it do that. So we're just going to sit here and start spamming attack to kill that rat nest. And then we're going to do the same thing over here to kill them before they can spawn any rats. And then we're going to run around and destroy everything. This is one of the spots that's good to remember for when you get to a new chapter, because there are a lot of destructible items here. There's a wire spool to the right. I believe that's there all the time. I think it just looked like it came from the desk chair, but I'm pretty sure that's always there. We're going to press the northeast green button here and head northeast into the next room. As we approach that camera, a scene's going to play, so we're going to destroy everything first. Be ready to back up. And you may have to swap your character with up on the D-pad. Let's go ahead and skip. I'm sorry, it was down on the D-pad. We just swapped to Lucas and Dustin instead of Dustin and Lucas. So back off. You can see Dustin is poisoning the enemies. That does 5 chem damage per hit. Or, excuse me, per second after it's hit. which is very good for us. We can run in and start poisoning enemies and then just run back and let it tick the damage away while he's busy attacking Lucas. Once everyone's dead, you're going to go into this next room. There's a wire spool there you're going to want to grab or destroy everything. If I remember correctly. Okay, no. There's a couple of dead bodies where they make a comment about how the cleaning crew missed something. And I was like, oh, that's very, very nice. Once you clean everything up, walk to the right corner here where the computer is. This basically finishes the quest, which is why that achievement popped for us. But once the dialogue is over, we will pop that achievement. Excuse me, give me a second here. The Shack Sack achievement, which is achievement number 4 of 31 for 15G, getting us to 75 out of 1000 G total. I am going to just show that off real quick. There's a Joy Store to the southwest, so we can't do anything with that right now, but we're going to exit to the northeast room, destroy all of this stuff to get a little extra money. And with that done, we're going to head all the way back to the first room of Circuit Shed, but not all the way out, because the first room had a blocked room that is now open, and inside of that room is the item needed to make 11's trinket, which isn't as important as it was in my first draft of this walkthrough, but we're still going to grab it because we may still be using it. There's the circuit board. It didn't pop out, but it was there on the ground, so make sure you grab that, and then you can exit back to the street. Head to the northwest. If you have $5 on you, you can get a trinket. Talk to this guy. He's kind of a conspiracy guy, and he's going to be giving us quite a few trinkets as we go through. So go ahead and talk to him. Tell him you want a full throttle assault. Because it will be something that is useful for us later on in the game. It does boost physical attack, and none of our characters are going to be doing that, but it is something we need to make something far later on in the game, and so it is more useful than getting the defense boost. So go ahead into your trinket menu, hitting, I think it's view, the view button, go to party, and choose any of the slots, it doesn't really matter which, and go ahead and equip the fist spikes. I'm just going to show you that now so you know how to equip these. Again, it's going to increase our physical damage, and we don't really do physical damage, so it's not going to affect us at all. Go north from that guy into the town hall lawn, and you will see a gnome between some of the bushes here, so go ahead and pick up the gnome. That is number 7 of 50 for us, Mikhail. Number 14 in the game. Go north from the sign, crossing the street, and you're going to see a hunting and gamping sign. I swear that's a G. Go ahead and destroy everything around here first and foremost, and then you can talk to the guy with the blue arrow, or blue exclamation over his head. This will get you a quest to go find 5 personal items from inside the store. Choose the top option, then go up and use the hack pad. And then you can open the door and go inside. So we're not going to be too thorough here. We're just going to destroy things on our way to other things. We're going to pull this lever here first to restore the power. Destroying these boxes in the center will reveal your first personal item. And then we're going to hit the green button on the north wall and enter this door that opened. There's going to be a rat's nest in here, so work your way through. Probably the most challenging combat you've had so far, so it's not a bad idea to get used to it. I'm not going to be telling you to block very often because it's just not part of my gameplay style, but feel free to get used to that. It does reduce damage you take, and it does boost your attack damage if you attack right away. So destroy everything, then head to the northeast in this next room. there is another secret. I'm pretty sure it's in the north corner in that box. I call them secrets, it's just personal items. I did that in the walkthrough, the text walkthrough too. I call them secrets all the way through instead of personal items for whatever reason. Exit to the northeast, and in this room, we have a puzzle in the loosest sense of the word. Throughout this game, you're going to see these bins. You can walk up to them and push them in the direction you are facing. So if you walk up on the southwest edge like we are now and press A, you'll push it to the northeast. If you do screw up with these, you can push them into a wall and it will reset them at the beginning. But to solve this puzzle, we're going to push it up to the northeast and then northwest onto the pressure plate. And we're going to move into the next room, and as you can already see, there's a bunch of people waiting for us. Go in, and we're just going to spray them and back off so they come to attack Lucas. And we're going to hide behind him. And then we're going to have some throwing enemies here. I'm not going to go into too much detail. There are throwing enemies, there are melee enemies, there are gun enemies, and there are, like, flamethrower enemies that you run into later on. There's not a whole lot of difference between them. When you defeat everyone, that middle filing cabinet holds personal item number 3, so go ahead and grab that. The problem is there are spots I found where the enemies change or weren't consistent from playthrough to playthrough, so I didn't end up recording the specific enemy types that were throughout the game. More often than not, I just said there's enemies in the next room, go kill them. So you might be surprised a couple of times by what's in there, but there shouldn't be anything that, you haven't experienced. I do try to introduce characters or enemies when they have new attack patterns. So we're going to push this green bin down to the southeast. We're going to follow it to that corner and push it to the southwest. And then we're going to follow it and push it to the northwest. That'll get it on another pressure plate to open that. And this room has a ton of enemies in it. And that guy over there throws Molotovs. So be careful. The Molotovs, if they hit you, will explode on contact. If they don't hit you, they will bounce until they explode. So you can spray through the shelving, as you saw there. So you can use that to your advantage. And don't stand in the pools of fire. You, of course, will take damage from doing that. Once everything is dead, go around and collect your spoils and exit to the southwest. There's going to be a rat nest in here. And you can open the chest for secret number 4. And there's another rat's nest, I believe, on the other side. So when you're ready, head over and take out the other nest. We're going to go grab that blue orb before it disappears and destroy everything else. And then exit to the southwest. This green locker here holds our final personal item, but we're going to go ahead and destroy everything else just for good measure. And then once you're done destroying everything, hit the green button on the west side to open the southwest door and bring us back out into the main entry. You can exit to the southwest, and once you're outside, go ahead and talk to the guy to turn in the quest. And he's going to give you some money and a whetstone, and that's going to unlock another achievement, the What's in Store achievement. Number 5 of 31 for 15G, getting you to 90 out of 1000G total. Head southeast. This is the Hawkins post, but we can't go inside right now. This building right here is never accessible to us. And this is the library with a gnome hidden behind the trees there. So go ahead and pick up your gnome, number 8 of 50 Elvis, which is number 6 in the game. And there's nothing else for us to do here. So turn back around and head northwest, following the road to eventually exit to the world map. We're going to choose the Starcourt Mall. And while there are a couple of things we could explore, we're not going to do that for now. Head northwest and go back into the mall. And first things first, just walk north and go back down the escalator. If you want to destroy things as you're going around, feel free, but I haven't found that the stuff in the mall gives you a whole lot of things, so I don't bother. Walk up to the not-so-good shop here, and we gotta pay 5 cents to get a pretzel. You should have no problems doing that. And now we're gonna head back to the upstairs. Once you get upstairs, head right and up to go around. You'll notice it's not blocked up to us anymore, and anything you destroyed in that introduction might still be sitting on the ground. So go ahead and pick up anything that is on the ground over here. And head over to the crimp lady here. We're going to talk to her and buy the shampoo from her. You should have the money to do this because we just picked it up. But if you went on some spending spree without my permission and don't have money, you'll have to go grind some money out in order to do this. Again, I recommend that gnome house in the suburbs if you ever need to grind out money. There's also always a pile of money in this corner. I don't know why, but it's always there. Once you have the shampoo, you can leave the mall. And then we're going to exit in the southeast to return to the world map. We're going to head back to the suburbs, and immediately we're going to walk north and northeast towards the pool. Walk down towards the entrance and we'll be stopped to get the pretzel. And then exit to the northeast side of the pool and talk to Karen to turn in her quest. We'll get $5 for doing that, which is basically what we spent on the shampoo. Head directly east, and on the east side of this shed, you're going to find a gnome in the corner. That is gnome number 9 of 50, Indiana. The game has it marked as number 4. And head back to Karen, and the woman to the northwest has a side quest for us. So go ahead and talk to her. She gives us a bunch of money to pick up a hairdryer, and we're just going to take it and never give her the hairdryer. No, I tried that already. I wanted to see if it was possible, but you have to come back here, and if you talk to the shop owner, you have to buy the hairdryer first in order to progress the quest. So, unfortunately, that wasn't an option. Anyways, regardless, that's all stupid stuff. We're going to leave the pool now. Not really important for me to talk about that. Chet's going to stop us and demand a milkshake from us. And we're going to exit to the northeast. And we're not going to bother with that for now. Walk to the south and exit to the world map. And now we're finally going to go up to Weathertop. This is another map that caused me a lot of trouble stitching it together for the website, so I hope you appreciate my work. When you pop in, you can head to the northwest. We could hack this, but there's no reason for us to right now. And we're just going to keep walking northwest to trigger a scene. You can go ahead and skip it. And we're going to get an introduction to Lucas's bomb here. Walk to the bottom left. And the game's going to spawn us some blue orbs, so pick them up. Go ahead and switch to Lucas. You can also do this as your main and have Lucas use the bomb if you want to, however you want to do it. Just make sure you're pressing the right button in the X, Y, A, B block down below to do a bomb. If you're going to do it as Dustin, you need to have the rock selected. So you have to walk up to it. Or if you're Lucas, same thing. You do have to walk up to it. So walk up to the rocks as Dustin. Press Y to have Lucas fire a bomb, and then you can pick up the coke off the ground, which allows you to replenish your energy. Don't use it right now, though. They refill 3, so at the very least you want to save them to for use when you need 3 energy. So there's a melee Russian and a knife Russian over here. But sometimes there isn't. So, like, the knife Russian isn't here. I don't know if he's supposed to be this guy. Sometimes this is where I decided I wasn't going to give you specific enemy locations, because sometimes they're in different spots or they're different enemies. I don't think that happens very often, to be honest, but this is kind of the point where I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't be giving specific enemies because I don't know if they're going to be the same. I think for the most part they are, but there was an instance where I wasn't sure about that, so I didn't write it into the walkthrough. And ultimately, if you are having problems, you can buy medkits and coke from vending machines for $1 each. If you are finding yourself dying or taking damage, feel free to spend your money. Just keep that in mind. Later on, you may have to spend some time grinding to make up for stuff I don't tell you to buy. If you are finding the game a little bit more difficult than I have, this is like my 10th playthrough of the game, so I'm probably making things look a little bit easier than they are. Again, feel free to spend a little bit of time grinding money and, building up your med kit and coke. However, there are a bunch of med kits on the ground in this area, which is why I didn't direct you to go buy some. We're going to go south here, and another Russian will attack us. Just going to call them enemies probably from now on. Head to the right here, destroy the couple of leaf piles, and we're going to use Lucas's bomb over here, and then pick up the med kit behind it. Return to the left and head down further. On the right side is a hack pad. Go ahead and hack it and follow the path around. You're going to run into some more enemies over here. Some more rocks to destroy with bomb. Make sure you're pressing the right button, because if you do use Dustin's robot, it will take energy away from you, and I did not find Dustin's robot to be very useful. There is a hack chest down here, which usually gives money and coke and med kits. And then open this hack chest here for your first Cerebro part. Head to the left. There's going to be some rats over here. I can't remember if there's a nest, but I know there are a bunch of rats. There is a nest. Destroy everything. Pick up whatever items you get. Money is also important. That is why I'm having us go explore everything, even though there's not always something necessary in the areas. Exploration is very important for getting as much money as possible, and items. I think I touched on this earlier, but there are specific items. I think they're rags, pocket knife, motor oil, and there's one more that are drop-only items. You cannot buy them from anywhere, which means if you do need them for crafting, you have to just run around and destroy things over and over, hoping that eventually drops for you. Which is why I made a note of that at the beginning. We don't have to worry about it very much. In fact, not at all. Until a story quest later, which requires some drop items. But that drop item, I'm pretty sure, is coded to drop heavily. Those are the rags, which I think we've already gotten a couple. So as you move west, you're going to defeat some more enemies and open this hack chest, and that will get you your second Cerebro part. From the Cerebro chest, head straight south to a path. We're going to work our way around. There's going to be some rats over here, I believe. Nope, there's a Russian. There's going to be more med kits and coke on the ground, so pick those up. You can see that we've maxed our med kits and have room for one more coke. Once you get back to the Cerebro chest, head straight left. We're going to have some more rocks, and there's the rats I was thinking of. Do keep an eye on bodies when you kill them, some enemies give up their items right away, and some enemies don't give up the items until they disappear. I don't know if that's... I haven't been able to figure out exactly what the difference is. I don't know if it's because I'm using Dustin and he uses or inflicts poison damage, so it hovers until the body disappears. I'm not sure exactly why, but some enemy types and enemies will take a little longer to give you the items they're supposed to give you once you kill them. So just keep that in mind. If you get to a point here where you have full medkit inventory, feel free to use the one to top off whatever you got and pick up the one on the ground. And then we're going to open the hack chest here. Grab all the items, whatever you got. I think the lighter is the other drop item I didn't mention. So lighter, motor oil, pocket knife, and rag are the 4 items that you can only get by drops or from chests. And we're going to head back to that Cerebro chest and head north. And there's going to be a couple of Russians up here. Once they're dead, we're going to head to the west for a couple more Russians over here. There is a Joyce gate to the north, but we can't go through it yet. Keep heading west for some more Russians. And at this point, our health is full and we can't pick up the med kit. So what I recommend doing, if you really want to worry about it, is just make a note of where this med kit is. It'll save you some money if you want to come back and get it. Or if you don't care, just leave it there. In this corner, we want to grab the tuna. This will save us having to come back to get it later. And we need that for one of the 4 side quests that are missable that are tied to achievements. With that done, we're going to return all the way back to where we came in from and continue to the north. Couple more enemies here. Head to the southeast here. You're going to have another rock to destroy. And 2 more Russians, I believe, to kill. And it gives you a little block tutorial there. Don't worry about that. Again, if you want to mess around with it, you can, but it's not needed to get through this difficulty. Interact with the Cerebro part, and that is all 3 Cerebro parts, but we're not going to finish off this quest line quite yet. Head back to the path and go straight north when you reach here. You're going to have a couple more Russians to kill. And then you're going to head down into the little bunker here. Immediately you're going to be attacked, so be prepared for that. Go ahead and destroy everything. Exit to the northeast here, but you're going to get attacked again by 5 enemies, I think, in this room. And then exit into the northwest room for 2 more enemies, I believe. And we're going to go ahead into the back room. Give me 1 second here. And we're going to find our 10th gnome. This is gnome number 10 of 50, David. The game has it marked as number 9. And now we're going to exit all the way back out of the bunker. And we're good to finish the Cerebro quest line. So go ahead, go south back to this large area and head east. And this is where we initially came into the area. Head northeast towards the exclamation point and interact with Cerebro. You're going to get a couple of scenes here. And that finishes Chapter 1 and the quest. That unlocks achievement number 6 of 31, From Love to Russia. for 15G, getting us to 105 out of 1000G total. You're going to have some dialogue here that you need to skip through, and another scene will play out, and that will start chapter 2, and we'll restart in Mike's basement. As always, folks, if you have any questions or comments for me, reach out to me, let me know, and I'll do my best to answer them. But if not, I will see you guys in part 3 of the walkthrough, where we deal with Chapter 2 of Stranger Things 3 the game.